We believe Christianity is perpetually on the move.
There is no sacred capital.
While the audience we serve is navigating a North American context, we serve this audience from an understanding that Christianity is an intercultural, polyglot religion.
At a time of rising religious ethno-nationalism, we insist that no culture can claim to represent the true form of Christianity.
And we actively seek for our authors and partners to reflect the global reality of the church.
As we move to the fifth principle, it says this: we believe Christianity is perpetually on the move. Now, for some people, of course, that phrase is just terrifying.
Yeah, I know.
And they would say, yes, unfortunately, Christianity is on the move. In this principle, of course, you're saying something really quite positive in a number of different directions. So take us into that.
Yes. So it continues, there is no sacred capital. I'll read the whole thing. It's already been read. But while the audience we serve is navigating a North American context, we serve this audience from an understanding that Christianity is an intercultural, polyglot religion. At a time of rising religious ethno-nationalism, we insist that no culture can claim to represent the true form of Christianity, and we actively seek for our authors and partners to reflect the global reality of the church. Yeah, so this is... I would say number 5 and really the final 3, but this one is paramount for comment for me in my life. I don't think I could be a Christian if I only understood it in an American context. It would feel very tinny and odd and incoherent, frankly. I think it's our most aggressive claim. Again, this is specific to the times in which we live, in a moment when my observation, and I think many people's observation, is that Christianity is being used as kind of a spiritual sponsor of cultural projects. And I'm not like anti-populism, but I do think combining Christianity with Western civs specifically, which frankly, some of this also I'm trying to distinguish comment from peer publications like First Things, most obviously, but there are a few others I could name who, in my view, have made a gross mistake that is very much not in the tune of their founder, Richard John Neuhaus, in the last number of years, to wed kind of post-liberal questions, which I have a lot of sympathy for, with a kind of, we need to go back to our roots and civilizational roots. And there's kind of a certain sort of people that has represented the truest form of Christianity, so-called. And it very quickly becomes, I mean, in its most extreme form, it becomes outright racist. But a lot of the time, it's a little bit more of kind of a mild blindness to all of those who actually oftentimes are living, in my view, the most joyful, generous, self-sacrificing, beatitudinal forms of the faith. And I find them in immigrant churches. I find them in the Black church. I find them anytime I travel to the continent of Africa, other places that is sort of not the West. Mark, I don't need to tell you any of this. This is where I see the future of the faith. So I think, insofar as we're straddling both concerns about democracy, we are trying to serve our society. I find a lot more hope a lot of the time outside of our society in terms of Christ-like witness and redemptive work. This was a bit of a we're not going to mess with mergings of race or of a particular temporal civilization that, yes, has Christian strands in it, Judeo-Christian strands in it. Some of them are significant. We will acknowledge those. We're grateful for those. But all cultures are fallen, and we're part of another kingdom, all mixed in here. So yeah, I'm sorry to get passionate about this one, but, and comment, I recognize we have a long way to go in fully living up to this every single day in terms of who we can attract to our pages and our podcasts, and compel their own trust and empower their voices. But,
what does animate for you right now in this conversation, this moment, the degree of energy that you're expressing? Because I share it, actually, and it for me, it comes out of certain concerns and fears and observations about things that I think are blind to this particular principle. But why do you have the animation that you do about it?
In my own lifetime, which has involved living overseas, traveling overseas, and then in the U.S. context, primarily finding almost like remnant style. And by remnant, I mean Galatians 5, fruit of the Spirit, people and communities of faith living in like as full integrity as one can this side of death, trying to follow in the way of Christ. In this country, they've tended to be Nigerian Pentecostal communities. They've tended to be Vietnamese Jesuit communities. They've tended to be Korean American Pentecostal and Presbyterian communities. They've tended to be Black churches, and then a melange of all of that, particularly in cities. And because those communities have been my exemplars, and I see them as both the future of the faith in this part of the world, onto something that respects the state but doesn't try to capture the state power, I just find problematic that a faith that has authority still, despite however secular we've become, however many nuns there are, etc., a faith that has authority in the public's mind to a degree as a symbol. And also, actually, there is a spiritual realm that has authority in good and evil. Like, there are powers beyond what we can see. There's just something in the way in which civilizational Christianity, which seems to be awakening around the world right now, at least in the West, there's something about it that strikes at like a core evil, and that has something to do with who has got more dignity than others. It's like setting up a hierarchy of human value that seems utterly antithetical to our number one principle in this. It just seems like deeply, deeply dangerous. I see like bad spiritual power in setting up either a race or a temporal civilization. All civilizations are fallen, all cultures are fallen, as somehow representing the real thing. Christ came for the universe and for all of history. So that requires just a very different hermeneutic than seeing through the smallness of faith, family, and flag.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you, so much of my Christian identity has been rewritten by experiences of Christian faith that are completely outside the social reality that is my fundamental location, you might say. But as my world has been exploded by various Christian friends and compatriots and fellow travelers together who come from such radically different places around the world and whose social circumstances inside the United States or outside the United States are about as unlike being a tall, white, educated male as they could be. And yet they reduce me to a great deep sense of longing for who they are and for what they are about and for the authenticity of their belief. It's seamless integration in private and public life. It's capacity to suffer as well as to celebrate, or to celebrate as well as suffer. All of that changes the lens by which I see and engage the world. And when Christianity seems to be running the dangerous risk of being captured by a certain kind of ideological, political, social frame that feels as though it's really making itself primary simply by its Napoleonic capacity for self-crowning, that is a very, very dangerous thing. So the animation of Principle 5 makes total sense to me. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with it. It's really encouraging to meet people who do.